Musk is now the world's first trillionaire. You beat me, bro. You beat me. Wow. You and me were really neck and neck, but you beat me. So I'm man enough to say that. Like, I could get caught up in, damn, I was so close, but he just barely beat me. But like, money doesn't even matter type shit. So honestly, like, I'm not even tripping.
You about this. So Elon Musk just became the world's first trillionaire. And what's crazy is just a few months ago, Elon Musk said this. He said, whoever said money can't buy happiness really knew what they were talking about. So listen, man, if the world's first trillionaire, the richest man in the world, is telling you that money can't buy happiness, I think we need to pay attention. I think we need to realize God has been warning us about this in the Bible for a long time. There's a reason the Bible says, what good is it if you gain the whole world but you lose your own soul? And that's the truth, man. Without God, we are nothing. But with God, we have everything. Life without God is meaningless. It's empty. It's like an unsharpened pencil. It has no point. God is like oxygen. You can't see him, but you can't live without him. And Elon Musk isn't even the first dude to realize this. Solomon in the Bible was the richest man at the time. He had everything the world had to offer. And you know what he said about it? It's all meaningless. Because the truth is, the Bible says God placed eternity in our hearts. That means you've got a God-sized hole that no amount of money, pleasure, power, success could ever fill. Not a billion, not a trillion, not a kalakapatasalalalillion. Truth is, you could have everything this world has to offer, but if you don't have God, you have nothing. You could have nothing this world has to offer, but if you have God, you have everything. Your worst day with God is always going to be 1,000 million times better than your best day without him. And we're not going to have everything we want in this life, but guess what? If God is all we have all we need. Can I get an A?
Us becoming a trillionaire has apparently just broken everyone's brains. So let me explain something to you. Just because someone becomes a trillionaire does not mean that they have $1 trillion just sitting around to redistribute to everyone. Not to mention, even if he were to dissolve all of his companies today and redistribute his wealth back into the world, I think some of you are severely overestimating what that would look like. For instance, let's say that Elon was to dissolve his companies and he decided, I'm going to fund the government with my net worth. If he were to dissolve 1.1 trillion of net worth, it would only fund the government for about 57 days, you guys. Or another example, if he decided to dissolve his companies and he was going to redistribute his wealth to every single individual that lives in the United States, 1.1 trillion net worth only equals out to about $3,100 per individual. And I know you guys remember when Joe Biden was giving us those little $2,000 stimulus checks during COVID, that didn't get anybody anywhere. I mean, I'm not saying that $3,100 is absolutely nothing, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, this is going to pay, what, a month or two worth of bills? But honestly, I really think that this is the part that everyone is having a hard time wrapping their heads around. Elon Musk did not earn his wealth by scamming people, by stealing people's money, by defrauding people out of money. He amassed that sort of wealth by creating goods and services that people either needed or wanted to buy. Like, y'all are so mad that people like Jeff Bezos exist, but yet your main source of serotonin is your impulse buys from Amazon. Y'all are so mad that people like Zuckerberg exist, but none of y'all are deleting Instagram because how will anyone know how hot you are if you can't post selfies on the internet? Y'all are so mad at the fact that millionaires and billionaires and now trillionaires exist without acknowledging the fact that they cannot exist without the consumer. The fact of the matter is that no matter what tax bracket we are talking about, there are givers and there are takers in this world. Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg are takers. They have taken more from the world than they have given back. Meanwhile, Elon barely turns a profit at any of his companies, and yet he is giving back things like autonomy to people through Neuralink, like communication to people who would never have that kind of reach through Starlink. He has allowed people with disabilities who may not have been able to previously drive cars the ability to navigate the world through his self-driving cars. I mean, he responded to the people in North Carolina who were flooded out and had no communication before our federal government ever did. He rescued astronauts from space before our federal government ever did. You cannot say that Elon takes more than he gives back from the world. And you guys are also forgetting the fact that Elon becoming a trillionaire today also created about 5,000 plus new millionaires. And for those of you that are complaining, how many millionaires has Elizabeth Warren created? How many millionaires has Bernie Sanders or Gavin Newsom created? How many millionaires have Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg created? Zero. None of the people complaining about Elon being a trillionaire have brought anybody else along for the ride with them. They have not brought anybody else with them. They have created wealth for themselves and themselves only. But they want you to believe that your biggest problem is Elon Musk. Give me a break.
You mean Elon Musk is now worth over $1 trillion? What the hell does he need all that money for? When this man was a billionaire, he had 3 divorces. Does he think getting more money is gonna make this shit stop? It's still gonna keep on happening. I mean, clearly he's a piece of shit if all these women keep on leaving him. And obviously he's a piece of shit if he's spending billions of dollars on a company to explore space and other planets when he's not even trying to use that money to fix the problems on Earth right now. Like, this man literally has the top 5 billionaires' wealth in his bank account, and I have yet to see him give it out to anybody else. And I don't want to hear any of y'all talking about Elon Musk's charity foundation. I don't know how much y'all know about taxes, but on tax return time, he gets all that money back. He's not losing a single dime. He owns the...
Elon is officially the world's first self-made trillionaire. Remember, capitalism is far superior to socialism because one man gets to have $1 trillion while others have to fundraise to afford life-saving medical care. 800,000 Americans are homeless. 670 million people worldwide face hunger, and 28% of the global population live in food insecurity. Perchance, the human specimen is actually completely fucked. Because if a monkey hoarded more bananas than it could possibly eat, while most other monkeys around it were starving, scientists would study that one monkey to figure out what the fuck was wrong with it. But when humans do the exact same thing, they get put on the cover of Forbes. Me personally, I believe if you are a trillionaire, while there are children all around you fucking starving, that does not make you Batman or Tony Stark. It makes you a fucking
Instagram, and I see Elon Musk is a trillionaire now. And I left a comment saying, here come people trying to tell him how to spend his own money, because apparently it's too much. And somehow people flipped it into me defending him in what he's done as a person. No, bro, that's like literally not what I did at all. I'm just saying, imagine you make a whole bunch of money from all your business ventures and investments, and then you got outsiders trying to tell you how to spend it. All I'm saying, if it was me and I earned all that money, don't even gotta be $1 trillion, bro. It could be like 500 million. I'm not gonna have people tell me how to spend my money, bro. If I want to donate money or give some money away, it's gonna be out the kindness of my own heart. And I'm pretty sure everybody in the comments will feel the exact same way if they made their own money. But it's full of people begging for handouts, and that's what I'm saying. We all got the same 24 hours in a day. If you're not getting up to get it like he did, then that's your fault, bro. Like, don't be mad at him because he...
Congrats on becoming the world's first trillionaire. What are you gonna do with all that money? I'll probably just hoard most of it. You know, like Smaug. The dragon from The Hobbit? Isn't he the best? He's the bad guy. Wait. So you're telling me you have more money than Taiwan and you're not doing anything with it? Well, I never said that. Okay. I'll definitely keep pursuing Mars colonization. Again with the Mars thing? Why do you want to go to Mars so bad? Because Earth sucks now. Then fix it. That is not my responsibility. It kind of is. Yeah, like even a fraction of your money could save the world. Hey, I pay my taxes just like everybody else. You literally don't! God, you're an asshole. Look, you need people like me. How? Ever hear of trickle-down economics? You have $1 trillion. At what point does it start trickling down? Any day now, I swear. This is totally ridiculous. Oh my god, fine. If I promise to do something good for the world, will you please leave me alone? Yes! Fine. Thank you. Great. So then what are you gonna do? Oh, I have some amazing ideas. Such as? Well, for starters, 10 new data centers. What? And a girlfriend for...
42K a year, we'll hear about Elon Musk becoming a trillionaire and be like, well, he worked for it. Okay, well, you worked, so where's my $1 billion? Where's my $1 billion, baby? Maybe it'll trickle down someday. Who the knows?
Guys, you often ask me how to properly use logic in the debates. Today, I will try to show it to you using a video from this lady. Firstly, we need the premise, the main point we are debating. Otherwise, how would we know what we are even talking about? So correct me if I'm wrong, but here's how I understand it. She is reacting to Musk becoming a trillionaire and pushing back on the people who defend it with he worked for it. Her point is roughly, she works, the guy on 42K works, Elon works. So if working is the reason, where is her billion? And maybe it trickles down one day, who knows? Underneath that are two ideas. First, that the reward should track the work. And if it doesn't, the system is unfair. Second, the trickle down part. That the money at the top should make its way down to other working people. That is what I'm going to test. But first, let me be precise about this trillion because it matters. It's not $1 trillion sitting in Elon's bank account. SpaceX just went public and it is basically the value of his shares in it on top of his Tesla shares pushed his net worth past $1 trillion. On paper, investors were lining up to buy in and that demand set the price. So this is not cash he's sitting on, it's the market value of companies a lot of people wanted a piece of. Keep that in mind. Here's my first and main point. Musk operates largely in a capitalistic system. And in that system, you are not exactly paid for how much you work. You are paid for how much demand there is for what you provide. That is exactly what the IPO shows. Investors were not paying for his hours. They were paying because they value what his companies make, from rockets to satellite internet. The demand set the price. So this was not really about how hard he works. And if she says that is unfair, I would point out she uses the same system. A video blogger like herself is paid not exactly by how much effort goes into the videos, but by how many views they get. Another creator could spend many more hours making videos and still get fewer views. Does that mean the money from her videos should trickle down to that person? No, of course not. I'm not saying she's the same as Musk. The scale is very different. But the principle that pays her is the one she is complaining about. So she's calling out the system that puts food on her table. Now my second point, the trickle-down part. Let us say she really believes the one who earns more should let it flow to the one who earns less, as long as they work. Then apply that to her. Around 800 million people live on less than $3 a day, and many of them probably work as much as she does. She likely earns 100, maybe 1,000 times more. So by her own principle, why does her money not flow down to them? She can say, well, Musk has far more than a person needs, and I still need mine to get by. And that is fair, but notice what just happened. The moment she says that, she has stopped talking about work. Her reason is now, how much does a person actually need, not how much a person worked. Which is my first point coming back around. This was never really about effort. Not for Elon, and not for her. But hey, maybe she does give part of her income to people in extreme poverty. And good for her if so. So that is how I take a video like this apart. The most important step is the first one. Find the premise. Take its strongest version, then test it. Get the frame wrong, and everything you build on top is just...
Musk becoming the world's first trillionaire is Whitey's on the moon on steroids. If you're not familiar with the classic work of Gil Scott-Heron, today's a great day to get acquainted.
Millions and millions of dollars are continually sent into outer space, while we continue to face the same problems here on the ground.
In 1970, Gil Scott-Heron made a powerful statement that would ring true for over 50 more years. His point was not to be anti-NASA or anti-technology. A point was being made about American priorities.
I can't pay no doctor bills, but Whitey's on the moon. 10 years from now, I'll be paying still while Whitey's on the moon.
Yesterday, Elon Musk became the world's first trillionaire, not a billionaire or trillionaire, off of a rocket company, while millions of Americans are questioning if the price of gas to go to work is worth showing up to work for. With SpaceX raising $75 billion in one single day to make for the largest IPO in financial history, Elon Musk now holds more wealth than the next 4 richest people on the planet combined. Only 19 countries have GDPs over $1 trillion. Elon just joined that list as one person. And here's what they won't tell you. SpaceX didn't build this alone. They had NASA contracts, government subsidies, public money, your tax dollars helped lay the foundation for a $1.7 trillion private company. Gil Scott-Heron's statement still holds true today. It's the same story with a wider wealth gap and even more people getting left behind. The question isn't whether Elon deserves to be rich here or, to run a rocket company. The question is, why does our government feel so comfortable using our tax dollars to make one man the richest human in history, while the average citizen living in one of the only developed nations without universal health care is dealing with a housing shortage, a gas crisis, an affordability crisis, and more? Here's the kicker. If it's up to Elon Musk, it's going to be AI robots replacing Whitey on the moon next, based on everybody's tax dollars subsidizing his rise. Again, Gil Scott-Heron's statement rings true.
Was all that money I made last year for Whitey on the moon? How come I ain't got no money here? Whitey's on the moon.
And now, Elon Musk is a trillionaire by way of convincing the U.S. government to subsidize him putting Whitey on the moon. The same government that would rather send astronauts to space than send access to quality healthcare and education to its own citizens in the 60s is doing the same thing in 2026. We've seen lots of tech advancements, but not a lot of change in the material circumstances for the average American, especially not for the better. And Elon Musk becoming a trillionaire, unfortunately, is a perfect example of that.
I think I'll send these doctor bills, airmail special, to Whitey on the moon.
Musk just became the world's first trillionaire. SpaceX just went public as the largest IPO in human history, valuing the company at over $2 trillion. And with Elon Musk owning 46%, his current net worth is estimated to be $1.1 trillion. Your brain can't actually understand that number, so let's make it real. Let's say you're making a generous $37 an hour. Working 40 hours a week, that's $1,480 a week. Times 52 weeks, you're making $77,000 a year. 1.1 trillion divided by 77,000 equals 14.3 million. You would have to work for 14.3 million years to earn as much as Elon Musk. Let's talk about what that money could do for humanity. In the most insane part, he wouldn't even have to spend it. If you took $1 trillion and just invested it safely, it generates about $45 to $50 billion a year. And the UN says it would cost about $40 billion a year to end world hunger on this planet. The returns alone could feed every starving human on Earth every year forever. It never touched the actual trillion. But it's not that simple. Money doesn't fix corrupt governments, broken supply chains, or war zones overnight. The resources to change the world already exist. They're just held by a very small number of people who don't have to use them.
Musk just became the world's first trillionaire. And thank God for that, because that was the priority. Someone becoming the world's first trillionaire before we solved something like world hunger. Before we made sure that every human being on Earth had a roof over their head. We got the world's first trillionaire while people have to decide between losing their home and getting cancer treatment. His wealth took a priority over 25,000 people who lose their life to starvation every single day. His wealth took priority over the millions of people who lose their life every single year from preventable diseases because they don't have access to good health care. His wealth took priority over the hundreds of millions of people, possibly billions, that are going to lose their life because of climate catastrophe over the next few decades. We absolutely wrecked the planet, and humanity might go extinct, but at least we got the world's first trillionaire. We have absolutely no money, no resources to end conflict around the world, but we have money to make one guy a trillionaire. I genuinely can't understand how the entire world decided that a few people like Elon Musk should become a trillionaire over solving literally all the world's problems. We could literally solve world hunger, world healthcare, world homelessness, all with just one guy's money. But no, it's better that he's not taxed. It's better that we don't tax him so that he can become a trillionaire, because the free market is more important than solving literally every problem in the world. Now, we should totally risk all of humanity going extinct because of the climate crisis so that one guy can become a trillionaire. Absolute hubris that humanity very well might go extinct because a few thousand people at the top wanted to accumulate higher numbers in a bank account rather than solve the world's problems and create a utopia here on Earth. It's just crazy. If it's not obvious by now, eat the rich.
It's important to remember on this historical day, as Elon Musk becomes the first trillionaire in the history of the world, that I are closer in wealth to Jeff Bezos than Jeff Bezos is in wealth to Elon Musk. And all you should learn from that is that you don't hate billionaires as much as you should. Our brains cannot even comprehend the level of wealth that Jeff Bezos has. And yet Jeff Bezos is closer to $0 than he is to the wealth of Elon Musk. Elon Musk spent the last 2 years demonizing trans people, demonizing immigrants, demonizing Latino people, demonizing queer people, Palestinians, etc., etc., etc. And it was all meant to distract you from him accumulating more wealth than any person in the history of the universe. It's a fucking grift. And all the while, remember, 2 years ago, he spent his time gutting funding for the Department of Education, for climate research, for medicine, for science. He gutted funding for USAID, which we now know has led to the deaths of 600,000 people, 2/3 of which were children. So I don't know, maybe trillionaires and billionaires are a bad thing.
Elon Musk is now the world's first trillionaire. If you think that he is a good man, what is wrong with you? Also, if you don't believe me, look it up. Because he just became the world's first trillionaire, like, a few days ago. So, we're screwed. Because the first person to become a trillionaire is somebody who doesn't give back to the community and somebody who doesn't like to give stuff away to charity. So, just letting you know.
Elon Musk recently just became the world's first trillionaire. Meanwhile, there's people out here working full-time jobs, having to monetize every area and every aspect of their life, and they still can't make ends meet. There's people out here that are living in extreme cases of poverty. People wake up every day and they literally don't know where their next meal is going to come from. It's morally wrong that as a society we care more about somebody becoming a trillionaire than we do about making sure everybody's basic human needs are being met. This is absolutely nothing to be proud of. It's not something that we should technically be cheering on. And realistically speaking, I'm not really too sure if y'all realize how much $1 trillion is. Like, Elon can spend $1 million every single day, and he's still gonna be able to go through all his money in 5,000 lifetimes. Meanwhile, people are literally working themselves to the point of putting their health on the line. People are starving to death, and I quite literally promise you, we don't want to be like him. We don't want to have millions upon billions upon trillions of dollars. We just want to wake up and not struggle like hell to make it through to the next day. We don't want to worry anymore about where our next meal is going to come from. We don't want to worry if we're going to be homeless and out on the streets next month. And I quite literally feel like we as a society might be a little bit too far gone for things to get better.
Elon Musk just became the first trillionaire the world has ever seen. And let me put that in perspective for you guys. You are now closer to Jeff Bezos than Jeff Bezos is to Elon Musk. It really makes me stop and think, because while all these astronomical numbers are being broken right now, there are millions of people just still struggling to get by. And I don't think he's the problem. I do think that he brings a lot of value into this world. Nor am I saying that people shouldn't be wealthy. It's just this gap is getting extremely wide, and it's really hard to ignore nowadays. And it makes me wonder, what kind of world are we really living in? What kind of life do we really want when the richest person in the world is just so far beyond what we can comprehend, while there are people barely making rent? And to me, it's not about the number itself. It's just about how we measure value. It's being precise about who we uplift, who we invest in. So when we see headlines, we know for sure that they're making a difference in the right direction. Right direction in innovation, technology, science, things that are going to bring us together and not separate us as a society. Because as much value and innovation Elon Musk brings, on the opposite side of that spectrum, there's someone with just as much power that's using it for detrimental causes.
Don't hate these people enough.
Musk is officially the world's first trillionaire. Think about that. We're living in a time when more and more people are just hanging on by their fingernails to survive in this economy. And Elon Musk has more money and more wealth than anyone in human history. I want to be clear. This is not just some fluke. It is a feature of a rigged economy.
Oh, right. You're a real woman of the people, Liz. You know, making a video from the back of your taxpayer-funded, chauffeured limousine. See, that's the problem with these champagne socialists. They would rather we be all poor, so long as we're equal in our poverty, instead of being unequal, but having some people wildly succeed while everyone's standard of living goes up. Considering that today over 4,000 regular workers, some of them being cafeteria workers, became millionaires thanks to Elon Musk and the SpaceX IPO, with 400 of them even clearing over $100 million. My question becomes, when have these people on the left ever created so much value and so much wealth for regular folks? Oh, right. They actually don't create wealth. A guy like Bernie Sanders has made 1 millionaire in this world himself. Meanwhile, SpaceX, like I said, has created over 4,000. And you too, Gavin Newsom, shut the fuck up. Why are you complaining about him being a trillionaire? Is it because you're mad that SpaceX is relocated outside of California because of your stupid communist policies that make it unfeasible for any companies to succeed? Point in case, he succeeded. You, not so much. And don't even get me started about people saying that he should be taxed half of his wealth because it wouldn't really affect him, but it could change the world. Guess which government already freaking taxes everyone billions of dollars? Nothing changes. Why is that?
Hi there, we have our world's first trillionaire, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit because it's a very historic moment. There's never been a person alive who's been worth $1 million or $1,000 billion. When you think of South Africa, where Elon Musk was born, their GDP is under $500 billion a year, which is how much the whole of South Africa makes in a year. And he's worth, more than double that. His company, SpaceX, which is worth over $2 trillion, just IPO'd today on the NASDAQ, which is also interesting because they did something to get the IPO listing over the New York Stock Exchange. We can talk about that in a second. And he sold 3% of the company, which means $75 billion was raised, making, his percentage worth over $1 trillion. On paper, and he can't currently sell it just yet. He has to wait a year. Most people who are insiders, early investors, there's a bit of a lockup period for them. He's got a year. They can sell before that. He's got his president called Gwen, who basically has been at the company, I think, since 2002. She is now worth over $1 billion. She creeped up to $2 billion earlier today, which is great for her. Well done, Gwen. Just kind of crazy. The reason this stock is, so expensive is obviously the Elon Musk effect, but also there's so little people who can sell right now and so many buyers. And even though 75 billion, which they raised, is a lot of money, it's just 3% of the company. Also, what I said earlier about the NASDAQ is that they are allowing index funds, or, index funds are forced to buy into SpaceX in 15 days. Usually there's a longer period to allow a stock that is a new listing to stabilize. But SpaceX said no. Elon said no. They said, if we're going to list on the NASDAQ, you will make index funds, so our 401ks, our pensions, our ISAs invest. So this is a very unique moment.
Let's see how long he remains a trillionaire. The second richest person in the world is worth under 300 billion, which is, I think, still a lot of money, if you ask me. But yeah, what do you think about this stuff? Elon, if you're watching, send some cash to South Africa. We'd love it. They'd love it. But if you don't do that, please, can you solve all the world's problems in space for everyone? That would be great. Thank you so much. Bye.
The world is filled with idiots. This is not a surprise, right? And I have terrible news for those people who think that Elon Musk could solve world hunger tomorrow, because most of his money is imaginary, and most of your absurd solutions, rooted in a lack of intellect, are administrative. So here's the comically ridiculous reality. There exists a particular modern superstition that all human suffering exists because eccentric billionaires refuse it to log into their banking apps. And I guess the theory goes something like this. Elon Musk possesses $1 trillion and it's in cash. It's stacked in shrink-wrapped pallets beneath a volcano, guarded by cyberkinetic wolves and a man named Chad. And at any moment, he could just press one of several buttons, like the end hunger button, the end poverty button, or malaria. He could solve energy, which he's done more so than anyone else, or he could just fix humanity, and yet he doesn't. To them, this is considered proof of moral failure, and those people are covetous idiots. Curiously, those same people often maintain absolute faith in big government and institutions that already command sums so vast they can only be described using words normally reserved for astronomy. America has roughly 150 trillion in net worth, China 100 trillion, Japan 30, Germany 20. So collectively, governments have wealth that makes Elon look like a dude flipping burgers at bumblefuck Mississippi McDonald's lounges. And they've had this money for decades or centuries. They have armies, and they have departments, and they have subcommittees, and they have task forces, and they have task forces for the task forces. But somehow, after generations and oceans of money, we still have potholes, we still have DMV lines, we still have a war on poverty that's old enough to rent a car. But somehow, the answer is always, if only Jeff or Elon or Mark from Meta would just liquidate their stock. And so what this does is it reveals a charming belief that net worth is money. It's not. If Elon sold everything tomorrow, the stock would collapse like a folding chair at a Baptist potluck. The whole market would collapse. Pension funds would burst into flames. 401ks would evaporate. Headlines would read, "The world was saved." Retirements, unfortunately, have been completely vaporized. And then taxes would arrive. So then the remaining pile would be more like maybe 300 billion if he was lucky, not the 1.2 trillion. And that's still a crazy amount of money, but it runs directly into the reality that hunger is not caused by insufficient billionaires. It turns out that food exists, and so does medicine, and power plants exist. What's missing, and has always been missing, is effective governance and logistics and incentives and corruption control and execution and peace and distribution and occasionally competent people, which is a much less satisfying villain than rich guys are bad. So these people imagine society's like a giant vending machine. You just insert dollars and you receive utopia. So history continues to demonstrate that the world is indeed filled with morons. And it's just funny to me. I don't even know what to say other than it's ridiculous.